Gotta get my order.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's event. It's so good to be here. And I'm joined today by incredible folks, the panelists. Let me add Letitia to the stream real quick. Okay, there you go. All right. So I'm joined by an incredible, host today, a panelist today. But before we start, let me just start by introducing myself. I am Anna Falabi, and I'm the founder of Fraser Foundation that is co-organizing the event today. And we're very excited to be doing this. So this whole idea of having this event came about with I started a YouTube video I think in May, and I've been talking about scholarships and all that. And what we've had was, I've had a lot of people send me questions about the application coming up. And what I realized was that there are not so much information out there about people that are, sorry, before I continue, can I confirm if people can see me or not? If it's okay, let me just confirm that here as well.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Oh, okay.
If it's okay, let me just.
I think we're good. Okay. So yeah, this whole idea came about with people asking questions about the whole application process, the personal statement, and what have you. And so instead of I can respond to every single question, so that's why I was just, I just thought let's have a panel like this that would, this is the first of its kind to really help people to answer some of the burning questions that they have regarding the upcoming application for KGSP. So, and I'm really thankful for all the guys that have agreed to join me here today. And I'm going to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves. So let's start with Mika.
Okay. Hey everybody, my name is Mika and I'm from Tanzania. I came to Korea. I'm living in Korea right now and I've been here for almost 9 years right now. I came here as a GKS, back then it was KGSP scholar, 2013. And I graduated from Seoul National University. I majored in economics. And yeah, and right now I'm just here living and enjoying the beautiful life that God has given us.
Thank you very much, Mika. By the way, I met Mika for the first, was it 2013? When he came to
Yes.
Korea. Okay, we're just chatting about that earlier. Anyways, let's go to Usaina.
Hello, everybody. My name is Husaina. I am from Nigeria. I was a JKS scholar from 2015 until 2020. I studied in Songyungwon University, the Humanities campus, and majored in economics. So I graduated last year, and now I'm currently working in a company here in Korea. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you very much, Usaina. I like to call Usaina social bird. So I think we started talking. Was it in 2015 or something, or
Yeah.
2016? Okay, let's go to God's Power next.
Hi, everybody. My name is Godspal, and I'm also from Nigeria, the best country in the world, the most beautiful, the leading country in Africa, and no other country can contend with us right now. And I'm actually from Anambra State,
You all know he's
and
copying.
I came to Korea 2013. I was among the KGSP scholars from 2013, and I graduated 2018 with a degree in mechanical engineering. And ever since, I've worked, performed, and did a lot of stuff in Korea, and I'm still here.
Okay, yeah, good to meet you, God's Power. Yeah, what did I just say? Good to meet you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
I think God's Power and Mika, they came together in 2013, and I'm no longer in Korea, but they're like they are the folks that I left in Korea, and I can't wait to be back again to see you guys. Let's go to Letitia. Oh, Letitia, we can't hear you.
Are you having network problem?
Are you in Africa?
Come on, man. That's
Yeah.
Oh, Letitia, we
no.
can't hear you.
we still cannot hear you. Are you in the basement or underground?
Oh, I think, but you're not on mute though. Let's see.
Yeah.
Maybe you
Oh,
can try
Letitia.
and log off and log back in. How about that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. We'll be back. Okay. All right. So
Yeah,
we'll continue. When Letitia comes, we'll be able to, we'll have her continue. And
yeah.
I thank you for sending in your question, Pratikisha. Sorry, I'm very sorry if I make a mistake with the name. We're going to get to the question and also, answer them a bit later. So for me, I came to Korea in 2011 under KGSP as well. Did my undergrad, under KGSP. Then from there, I also got it again for my master's degree, and I finished in 2018. Worked for about 3 years or so. Then I left Korea last year, to move to London to pursue a career in commercial law. So that's a bit about me. So with the old introduction done, I guess we can just jump right into the conversation for today. I think Letitia is back. Let me see if I can add her. Hi, Letitia. Can you hear us?
What's going on? Did you pray before you got here?
Maybe she's using Android.
I wonder why. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, let's just continue. So
Okay.
let's start with so for today's session, what we've tried to come up with is to divide the questions and answers to about 4 sections. The first one is to go through the personal statement and the study plan, and the second one is to go through the letters of recommendation. The third one is the interview, and the last one is just miscellaneous other questions here and there. And if you have any question, like I said earlier, please pop them in the comment section, and we'll be sure to get that to those questions as soon as we're done. But what I've tried to do is, like I said earlier, that people have sent me a lot of questions, and so I'm trying to work with those frequently asked questions that's been asked, and we'll go through that first. So let's start with the personal statement and the study plan. And I just wanted to ask, I'm going to throw this open to the floor. Anybody can start with it, can start to answer. So the first question I want to ask is, what do you think are the key attributes, or let's say, experiences that you think the panel, when they're evaluating your personal statement, that they're looking for when they're reading through your personal statement?
Mm. So I will go first. I
Thank you, sir.
think for me, what I personally think the panel are looking for is someone with a sort of direction and aspiration, have a guided plan, and some goal they would like to reach, in which the scholarship is a means to an end.
That's
So
nice.
once your personal statement is targeted towards, let's say, after the scholarship, this is what career I want to pursue, or this is how further I want to go to in XYZ field. And when you also specify a category or a research, that would even look more good. So things like that, like having a means to an end, or the scholarship serving as like an amplifier to what you want to do. I think it's a very good key factor to keep in mind when you're writing a personal statement. Wow, what is happening?
Hear me now?
Yeah, I can
Okay,
hear you.
sorry.
We're
Yeah,
on
so,
mute for a while. Mm.
yeah. So let me add. Mika is back. Okay, Mika is back. All right. So let me just ask the question. I like the point that Usena made about use thinking of KGSP as a means to the end. And again, I want to emphasize this point. When I speak to a lot of us coming from developing countries, they think of going abroad as a means to japa. Japa is a Nigerian word. I just want to get out of this country. Like I keep when you read a lot of personal statements, a lot of people actually that's how they expect. They just want to leave the country
Yeah.
as soon as possible. But when to Sena's point, when you're looking at it from the people evaluating your application, they're gonna spend almost $100,000 on you.
Yeah.
And for them, it's not gonna be a matter of this guy wants to leave his country, so let's help him leave as soon as possible. It's about what are you bringing to the table?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to go, between Mika and God's power, like just to put that into a practical sense, how did you relate that idea to, in your own personal, you can remember that, this is a means to the end. How did you relate that in your personal statement?
So for me, I think I'll go first. I think every story matters, and a lot of time when you think about personal statement, like a lot of people, what they do is they'll go on the internet and trying to find samples of personal statements and to see, you know, which one is the best and trying kind of like to copy or to change. But then I realized that these people they're dealing with personal statement every single time. They see a lot of them. So pretty much if this is what I'm gonna do, they will know what I write. But one thing that really worked out for me is that the personal story matters because my story is not the same with your story, is not the same with GP's story. So in the personal statement for me, it was an opportunity for me to write about my story, to write about that uniqueness that I have that nobody in this world else have. And I think that was one of the reason why I got chosen because when they were going through, you know, the stories and the personal statement that I wrote, they're like, you know what, we got to take this guy because we can see like there's something special about him. And that's what I encourage everybody. If you're writing personal statement, then make sure you write something that you have experienced, something that is you, because it's only you. Nobody else gonna have what you went through and what you have. Yeah. Did I answer the question?
No, no, yes, you did. And because at the end of the day, I think there's a word called personal. The word is personal statement, and
Exactly.
talking about how your story relates to what's specific to you, and relating
Mm,
how your story links
mm,
so much with the goal of KGSP and how that is going to help
exactly.
them achieve that goal at the end of the day. So if I could bring
Mm,
that to God's power real quick.
Yeah, and for me, I see personal statements in this sense, like it's the only chance or the only opportunity you've been given to talk about yourself. Because most times, like even before the interview, you have to send in your documents first. So it's like I'm trying to get these people's attention towards me. I'm trying to make them concentrate on me and know my own story. Just in relation to what Mika said, it's about your personal experience and your personal, let's say, career goal and everything. So it's like nobody else have that story. So you alone will know how to convey that story in whatever way you want. And also personal statement, I feel that they also look at your like how good you are at conveying, like at talking about your story. Like I really feel they look at they pay focus on that. When you're given opportunity to talk about yourself, like how do you talk about yourself? Some people, you can tell from their writing that, oh, this person is either they don't know what they're writing or they are shy to talk about their own story. So your confidence also shows on your personal statement. So you need to know how to talk about. Let's just one thing about Mika is Mika, he knows how to talk about himself, how to carry himself, and that should be a strength when writing a personal statement. Talk about yourself, like, yes, I deserve this because of this, so and so, so, so and so, because of this, I think I deserve this. So that's what personal statement, I think, is.
No, thanks for that. Now, I just want to go a bit, deeper to ask this question more broadly as well. That for you, when you're applying for KGSP, at the end of the day, you're trying to convey your own story, and aligning that with, the purpose of KGSP or what have you. And I just want to ask you real quick, like, how did you manage to convey that? If you still remember how you conveyed it, to really help them understand that, look, my personal story is very much in line with the strategic purpose of
mm.
KGSP. If anybody can go ahead to answer that first.
Ladies first.
Okay. I knew you were going to do this.
You got this.
So, in my personal statement, I'm not sure if I remember correctly, but I added the fact that I'm going to study economics. I leveraged that about how being in Korea and studying in Korea would be an opportunity for me to learn more about how this country came from where they were to where they are. We all know of the story of how Korea developed in a matter of years, something that is short for something that was very short period for a lot of other countries. So I included that since KGSP is what do you call it, a scholarship meant for people to help them grow, develop, and get to the next level in their lives or in their educational goals. This would also serve me in that way. So it's like aligning my interest in economics and also their interest in wanting to help people pursue their dreams. So that was how I linked them together.
Yeah. To add to that, can I add something?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
please go ahead.
Yeah, to add to that, I'll give you this a metaphor. For me, I thought as if like this is the beautiful girl I like, the girl that I want to ask her out. You know what I'm saying? And if you're really into this girl and you want to ask her out, the first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna want to make sure that you at least know a couple things about this person, right? If you're gonna sneak on her, social media, and trying to maybe ask from her friends, and to do as much as research you can to understand at least just a little bit, so that when you speak to her, you actually talk to her like from your heart, what you really want, but also you're speaking from her perspective, that whatever I'm going to say, I think she's not going to be able to say no to me, because you've done your research. So coming back to the to Korea and personal statement, just like Hussein said, even myself, I had to link, because I studied economics as well. I had to link the 50 years that we have. Like 50 years ago, we were both like the same economically, and then all of a sudden it changed. And I had to make sure that they know that I don't have another choice. Like you are the only choice, not because you are the only choice, but because you are the best choice for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to make them feel that they are special. That the reason why I'm coming there to learn of all this improvement and all these things that you have done. I want to learn and take it back to my country, do the same thing back home. And I'm pretty sure when they're going through it, they were like, wow, this guy, he kind of knows us. And I say kamsahamnida at the end of the day. So I guess he gave me extra points.
So
That's very
also,
nice.
so also to add to that, while writing mine, I spoke about my achievements in high school, because I came here immediately after my high school. I spoke about my achievements in high school, and then after elaborating what I've managed to achieve without the help of anyone, just me and me alone, focused on my studies. But then I now drew a bigger picture. And then it's like I left a huge question to them. Now imagine what I can achieve with your help, with the resources you have. Now imagine what I can achieve. And it's also what Mika said, you literally tell them that you are a medium I would like to go through in achieving my goals. I've managed to achieve this little in this space that I am, but then give me an opportunity, to go into the world, and achieve bigger stuff in a bigger scale. And I feel it's also, it's like literally flirting with them, for them to give you an opportunity to study.
Yeah, and that I think all of you guys have made. Thank you so much for making those points. And I just wanted to add to that real quick as well. That one thing that I get a lot from what you're saying is being specific as much as possible. So when I read personal statement of those applying for KGSP, a lot of people want to talk about, oh, I want to come to Korea, I want to learn this, but you're applying to a specific university at the end of the day, and being specific to how that university itself is going to help you to achieve that goal. Or being specific on maybe you're going to take there are particular courses that you think you're going to take that you think it's going to help you to achieve your goal. Like trying to their point that when you're trying to convince a lady that, look, you're not just to make us to make us an analogy, that you're not just one of you're the best choice for me. It's about trying to convince that as much as possible, and I think part of that is tailoring your application to that school, if possible. But we'll get to that a bit later when talking about embassy and university track. I think Letitia is back. Letitia, I think you need to unmute yourself. You're muted right now. Let's see if can you unmute yourself?
Tell the devil, get out of here.
Letitia, can you?
All right, so I'm back. Thank you so much.
Whoa, finally.
Hey, that's good. That's good. Okay. All right. So Letitia, before I jump to the next question, please can you just briefly introduce yourself, your name, and the year you got KGSP and what you're doing right now.
Okay. So hello everyone. My name is Letitia Say Adase from Ghana, now in South Korea. I also came in 2013 through 2015. Yes, same as Mika and God's Power. Yes, and I came in, studied electrical and computer engineering. And so far, I haven't left Korea yet, still here working in Korea. So that's the big thing about it.
No, thanks a lot, Letitia, and thanks for joining us. I still often say that even though we went to the same university, and even though you've cooked jollof rice for me as well, and we made jollof rice, but I will still say like the Nigerian one is better. I had to go
You
there. I can't
Yeah,
help it.
you guys you never try ugali.
You
So
should try going there. Next time on the panel, I think we'll have more Ghanaians so we can debate this matter.
no, but no, so just to go to the next question, Kenneth, I'm just gonna answer your question real quick. No, the study plan is not going to be handwritten. There's going to be an application form for you to write your study plan and the personal statement. I'm not sure if that answers the question. Now I'm just gonna go real quick to the next question, and what I have here is I just wanted to ask you about the whole process of writing a personal statement. The review, and I just wanted to how did you guys go about reviewing your personal statement and making sure that it's right on point? What steps did you take just to be able to give people out there some practical tips to bear in mind?
Talking about myself right now, I think boys first, right? Is it okay to say and Letitia?
I think the question
Letitia,
was to Letitia.
No, it's to everybody. Anybody,
everybody.
you're free.
Oh, Letitia, you can go first because you just joined us right now. I already spoke a lot. Ladies first.
All right, thank you for the opportunity to go first. So I think I heard my brothers already talked about it and how they actually came up with theirs. So I think because it's already competitive and you want to enter, not any other person. So you try to bring in your best point. Your best point in order to win the point. Because if let's say they put three ladies here right now and we are applying for the same this thing, why I don't want to say they place lady and a boy, because sometimes as ladies we want to try to be like, oh, because I am a lady they should choose me. But if you come to think about it, if we now put three ladies there, why should they choose you? So you put that down as a lady. I'm talking from my perspective, knowing that there'll be others that will be joining. It should be relevant to every other person. What you need to do is bring in a point that is your biggest. Why should I choose you or not the other person? Why should I choose you and not the other person? Apart from, let's say, schoolwork, I always say it. Yes, schoolwork is good. You have to have all A's. You have to be good. Yes, sometimes we say that. But apart from that, what else do you have? What skills do you have? You try to portray that. You try to make that known. For me, I think that is what I did. I did to say that, from apart from every other thing, when you put all ladies together, this is what I've been able to achieve. So I think I should be chosen. So I think you should put your first foot first.
No, thank you for that. Like I want to ask this as well, just open to everybody, because we have had the privilege of living in Korea for a long time. And for a lot of these people that are applying for these KGSP, they've never been to, some of them might not have been to Korea before. Are there practical things that you think they could include in their personal statement that would make them, because at the end of it, it's about showing that I am genuinely interested in studying in Korea. So are there practical things that they could put in that you think will make them stand out as showing that understanding of Korea?
For me, I can say it really depends on what you want to come to study. For instance, we said if you want to come to study about economics, then you should know the history of Korea. That it used to be one of the poorest country back in the days, 50 years ago, but now it's one of the leading economy in the country. I mean, in the world. So you should put something like that. If you want to come here to study about technology or IT, then you should talk about how fast the internet is here in Korea. Or you can talk about, I mean, not literally that, but I'm saying you can kind of relate the point of the fact that Korea has the leading companies like Samsung, Hyundai, all those stuff. So if your plan is to come to study something related to mechanical engineer or something like that, then you should have a case study from Korea that is outstanding from any other country out there. And when you talk about it, I think Koreans, they always feel proud when you're talking highly about it. Like if you're talking about Samsung and Apple, then you should say that Samsung is better than Apple. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't believe the same thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel feel like if you do that, then you have, at the same time you have a big chance. Yeah.
Thank you for that. And does anybody else want to add to that?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Please go ahead.
oh, okay, then I'll go first. So I think another practical thing you could add is maybe things that you know from your country that can be linked to Korea, or it, I know we'll go into the embassy and the university track later, but if you're applying through university track, pointing out the research that the professor you're interested in is currently working on, or the things that they've done before, so that people would know that this person has like spent time, studied, and done things. So those kind of things, that like paying attention to the little details of things that will make you seem more informed, like more in-depth research has been done and carefully, it wasn't like a rushed content. So that would help one way or the other. I don't know if I made sense, but yeah, that's what came to my mind.
Thank you. No, it does. Thank you.
Mm.
Letitia?
Yes, I think she made my point.
Okay, yeah. And what I'm gonna say here is for those that, so I'm going to maybe in the comment section later. So I actually prepared a guide that could help with doing a research about this, about the scholarship. And I think that I will share. Maybe you can send me an email. I'll put my email in the chat in the comment section at some point. That if I send that guide to you, that is going to give you a sense of some of the key questions you need to ask before you even start writing your personal statement. And there's also a video that I made that I also put on the channel, about the research process before sitting down to write a personal statement. Because the point that everyone has been making, the more research you do before you start writing your personal statement or study plan, the better it is you're going to convey your point. So again, and I think everybody is making that fine point, and I think maybe that research guide might help you as you navigate what specifically you could put in the personal statement. Now, the next question I want to ask before we move further, for study plan and personal statement, I believe so much in writing as many versions as possible, review and review and review. Like, did you guys use any application to check the grammar, to check the sentence structure? And who did you give your essays to review them for you? And how did you pick who to review them for you before you submitted it? Anybody
Uh,
can go.
okay, I'll go first. So for me, it was because I picked. Actually, I didn't pick. My school, one of the English teacher at my school reviewed it for me, and that was mainly because during my application for this scholarship, it was very in line with the school, so they were also supporting me in the whole process. So our English teacher, she was going through it, and yeah, it was a very thorough review. So it was kind of under fear. I don't know, because she was a very strict person. So if she saw any kind of typo or any kind of word being improperly used, she gave a really harsh feedback. So I think two teachers reviewed them for me, and those were in the English department mainly.
Thank you. Tito, we're gonna get to that question. Thank you for asking that. We're gonna get to that. Does anybody else want to add to that?
Yeah. To add to that, actually, I mean, in this we've been, let's say, technologically advanced. I mean, throughout this year, so there are a lot of applications. You can just like type in your personal statement and everything will be corrected. But
A
back
broken
then, just like,
drama.
yeah, and then back then, just like she said, actually, for me, it was like the whole school and also the Korean Cultural Center themselves actually helped correct everything for me. So it was like, I mean, I got a lot of help. I was lucky to get a lot of help back then. But these days, I know maybe it's been, let's say you graduated 2 years ago and you don't even remember the name of your English teacher. You can just, download an app or buy an app, and they're going to help you go through all that. I think that's how Mika made his CV.
I don't have a CV, man. I don't have a CV yet.
You want to throw a shot at Mika. And just to add to that point real quick. So like I think the other one that I always recommend is Grammarly. I think it's a very useful app to use, like, check your sentence structure, check your, your grammar. And the reason why I often emphasize this particular point is they will be reviewing thousands of applications for like very limited sports. And what you have to do is you have to make yourself as clear as possible. And if your sentences are too convoluted or it's so hard to understand what you're talking about, there is a high chance that they will just discard the application. Because when they have so much to look over and they have to like spend like hours on yours, they don't have the time. So that's why it's important to make sure that people review it for you, to get that understanding, so that it's going to be easy for them to understand whoever is reading it, and you can just move forward with that. So with that being said, let me see if we've covered all the questions here. The last thing I want to ask, I guess, on this, maybe second to the last, before we move to letters of recommendation, is what structure would you recommend? If there's a structure to recommend that when you're writing your personal statement or study plan, is there any structure you would recommend to follow? Like what should go in the first paragraph, the second paragraph, the third paragraph, and what have you?
In writing personal statement
and study plan, you can just cover it together, like in terms of the structure, like paragraph by paragraph. What would you recommend?
I think.
Okay, sorry.
You can go first.
It's not
Okay.
because usually ladies are more organized than men, so you can go first.
No, it's just like something that came to my mind, like in the first few seconds. Is I think in terms of structure, the first part should emphasize on who you are and the personal stories that Mika mentioned, because I think they skim through the first few sentences, and if it doesn't grab their attention, then they're on to the next. So if you start talking about something abstract, like let's say Korean development, they'll be like, "We've seen this script 100 times." Something fresh. So something fresh should be about you, and they've never seen. So the first few paragraphs should highlight that, and then the down below where you're about to talk of linking your interest and the scholarship, that's where you begin to put in everything about the Korea and all the research you've made. Yes, and yeah, that's the rough idea that I have of how it goes. I know I just separated it into two big parts, but you can always divide it into 3, into 4, and just know where to place what first.
For me, I think the question that you thank you, Saina. That's really on point. I also think, just to add that, I think you if you want your personal statement or you to be chosen, then your personal statement has to stand out, right? And when you think about that, if there's a certain structure that I need to follow, everybody's gonna follow that. And for me, it's kind of like boring to try to follow, like, one part, second part, third part. But my personal opinion or what I do, sometimes is, think like a movie, like when you're watching series or movies, the way they start, right? Usually they start from the end. They show that somebody died, and then they start to dive in the story, like to show you how this happened, and you're very interested because you already saw like something already happened, and you're trying to find out like why this person died and who killed this person. And throughout the movie, you're trying to figure out what's going on. So saying that means in your personal statement, you can start saying your goal, or what you already have, or what you're really expecting that has already happened. And then when you put out there at the beginning, then as you continue going down, you're trying to explaining how are you gonna get there. So you already show the conclusion, but you're trying to explain down there, like, how can I get there? Just like a movie, because as Hussein say, those people, they have a lot of papers to go through and a lot of people applying. If they just read one line, second line, and it's not interesting, they're gonna put it aside. So your best points, they need to be there at the beginning, so that when they read first one, they're like, wow, second, okay, third, okay, this guy already passed. Yeah.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to add that before we go to the next question?
Yeah. For me, I would stick with Usaina, because I think
I still love you, man. This is not about your love, man.
Yeah, listen. What you say, that's your idea, right? but I don't think you've actually written a personal letter like that. So it's like, you
I did.
you always, but you failed, right? You always start with an introduction. Like, who are you? Because that's what they are more interested. Who is this person? Like in Korea, we say Isaram Nugunya. It's like, who is this person? Like, and what is interesting about him? So of course you explain yourself a bit, and then you get to the body of let's say why you need that, like everything, and then the conclusion. There are cases where people will just read the introduction and the conclusion, like and the conclusion meaning the summary, because there should be a part where you summarize what you've just said, just in a simple, let's say, one sentence form. You summarize everything. So there are cases where some people, maybe they don't have time, or because they have like sometimes they have like thousands or millions of applications to go through. So they don't necessarily read everything. So they just go to introduction and then summary. And if they get the main point, they're like, oh, this person is making sense, and then they'll keep. So in that case where I mean, it's also what Mika said, it's a good idea, but I still feel, I would stick with Husseina's idea. You start with introduction, body, and then the conclusion or summary.
Yeah. No. Thanks for that. And I think at the end of the day, what I just want to tell everybody watching here is there is the answer on how to best answer the personal statement.
True.
I think it's about being creative in a way that would, number one, show your genuinity of wanting to study in Korea, and secondly, like really put you in a, like to let's just put earlier, like putting your best foot forward. So whether it's you want to start with a conclusion or you want to start with the traditional introduction, body, and conclusion, like it does not. It's about how you want to portray your story. And the reason why I'm glad that everybody has given you different ideas about to go about it is that they've all been successful with the application. So that means that the method they've tried eventually worked. So there is no the answer. Just want to put that out there. Just before we leave the personal assessment and the study plan, I just want to throw this out there. Like, do you have any other tips or recommendations that you want to give to those watching regarding the study plan and the personal statement?
Show to as many people as you can. I remember, man, we spoke this at the beginning, but I just wanted to get out the place where I was, and I because of the vision and the hunger I had, like not just going to abroad, but I really wanted to study somewhere else, right? So I had to show to a lot of people. Like I showed to my teacher, and he was like, "Oh, this is good." I had to run away from school because I was living in Kisuksa, so I had to take a leave. I left dormitory, so I had to leave to go outside and to show to other people as well. So show to as many people as you can, and whatever idea they give it to you, just try to make it as best as you can. If you have a personal statement and you don't like it, do you think someone else is gonna like it? So you gotta like it. You gotta be satisfied with with that personal statement. At that point, I think anybody is gonna see that and is gonna love it. If you love it, and if you have like a couple people who like already confirmed that, oh, I think this is good. Yeah, this is amazing. Change here, do that. So do that to as many people as you can be. And a lot of people that will say no. If you ask GP, he would probably say no because he don't even know how to write that by himself. But still, just go to somebody else and try to involve as many people as you can. Yeah.
I like how both of you are throwing shots at each other. Let's do you want to add anything?
I want to add. Oh, okay.
All right. I wanted to say you should keep it simple. Really, keep it simple. I think everybody's making the point. First, put your best forward. What will captivate them? The best you have to offer. You put it there, and then you try to make everything simple. So that is a tip I want to give. Keep it simple.
So some people they use dictionary to put some difficult word. Like Koreans, they don't understand English. Some of them.
They don't understand.
So just put simple.
Simple.
Yeah.
No, thank you for that. And there's a question from Litina. About the maximum and the minimum number of words. To be honest, I don't know it off the top of my head. but they usually write it there, the number of words, and sometimes they use characters. And what I would say is go to Google and type what is the equivalent of this number of characters. That will give you the number of words that you're going to write. Or even on Microsoft Word, I think there in the review section, you can actually compare the number of characters to know the number of words. So I don't know it on the top of my head, but they usually put it there for you to know the maximum number of words. Then before we go to letter of recommendation, let me see if there's any question about personal statement as well. I think that's the only question. Then there is one about whether it's handwritten. No, it's not. And let me see if I understand what you guys are saying. Like, do you have to write with your hands and send it? You have to type it to send it. But obviously, when you're preparing, and you can obviously write it with your hands. But my point is, when you're submitting it, it's not handwritten. You have to type it to send it. And they give you a form where you write all that in before you go forward, before you submit it. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to the second section to talk about. Oh, sorry, God's power.
So before that, I wanna. Are we coming back to study plan?
No, I've tried for us to cover it together.
I want to.
You have to talk all the time, man. You can't let this pass.
No, this is important. I'm talking to somebody out there. Just listen. Like,
Okay.
One thing I noticed that is very important about study plan, especially when you're applying to Korea or other countries, is like at the end of everything, at the end of all your let's say what you've written, you should or you need to. I feel you need to write that I'm gonna take the knowledge that I have acquired in this country back to my country. Because most times, if you don't say that, people will think you just want to Japan and come to a country. So if you specifying that, will actually give you more points, like, or will make them consider you that actually he's gonna take this knowledge back to his country. And also, every country or every university wants to be, let's say, they want to be proud. Let's say their student go back and become a leader. That's why like Mika. One thing I like about Mika is he mastered, and he knows how to, how to get Korea's attention. And the way he does that is, I'm gonna be the president of Tanzania.
That's a real vision.
Yeah, I know, but you are doing music. So,
this guy.
I'm sorry.
I knew he was gonna say something stupid.
I'm sorry. And then, like when he started saying that, if people started giving him attention, because one day he's gonna go back and it's gonna be it's gonna be their pride if they say, oh, this one-time president of Tanzania actually studied in this university, actually did this and this in this university, or he actually lived in our country. So most times it's actually important to specify. I'm going to take my knowledge back to my country and develop my country. It helps. Just a tip.
No, honestly, God, thank you for making that point. God's power. If you look at the strategic purpose of, oh my gosh, we have 15 more minutes or so. I just want to make this point. When you look at the strategic purpose of KGSP, it's to promote collaboration between Korea and and other countries. So they want to see you going back to your home country, applying. That's a way for you to show that you know what, I actually want to achieve the strategic goal of these scholarship, which is to promote the cooperation between Korea and my country. We have just about 15 to 20 30 more minutes to go, so we're gonna go straight to the letters of recommendation. And I've seen other people ask questions about that. But what I wanted to, I've got like 3 questions here. The first one is, how did you decide on who to write your letters of recommendation? Like, what were the criteria that you chose to decide who is going to write your letters of recommendation?
Okay, I'll go first. For me, I decided based on the teachers that I've had interactions with, taught me a specific course or mentored me one way or the other, and had something to say about me, even aside from the classroom or the courses we had. Maybe we had a different like personal relationship whereby they know me as an individual. So that helped a lot. And those were the teachers that I went to for letters of recommendation. Oh, also like if you're in a Nigerian school, I don't know about other school systems, like the vice principal or principal in your schools, you can also ask them for letters of recommendation. Even if they don't know you personally, just that authority will kind of give you a bit more edge, because the people who will be reading the letters of recommendation will be like, okay, this is a someone in a high position in that school, so they would trust their recommendation more than, let's say, others who are like, yeah, they just trust their letter of recommendation to have a bit more value. Yeah.
But also to be safe, sometimes, I remember, I went to this one teacher and then wrote a letter, like 3 line of letter of recommendation that, oh, I know Mika is a good student, please pick him. And I was like, what the heck is this? So what you can do, I think, even before you ask for it, you can write recommendation by yourself. This is another thing. Write, and you can write every single good thing about you. You can put a little bit of salt and sugar there, and you can just go to a teacher or anyone to ask for the signature. I think, I mean, most of them, they will ask you like that, oh, can you write, like draft it out and bring it to me? Most of them, they'll do that. Some of them, they might write by themselves, that's okay, but also I think it's good to be prepared by yourself, so that when you go, you ask this person, they can actually just put a signature there, read your letter, and try to, sign. And that's what I did.
Yeah, I also like I recently we applied for to a school for masters, and we actually had to do that. Most of the people we asked for recommendation letter, they asked us to write it by ourselves. So and one thing I understand about that is you know your strength. I mean, what other people know about you is what actually you show to them. Sometimes we don't show our everything. Some people are hidden leaders. Some people are just like hidden unseen leaders. But then nobody will know that about you unless you write it down. So you write your strengths. Like also for that, I really feel it's important for you to add sugar. Even things you cannot do, but just say you can.
No, no,
This guy.
No, that's
Look
not,
at
no.
that's the lie.
That's lying. No.
It's not being authentic.
that's
Come
not
on,
a
GB.
CV. No, that's not a CV. That's just for people to like, get to know you, to get to know your strength
That means
from another person.
that means they will choose you for something that you are not. You gotta be
No,
real,
no.
authentic, 100%.
Right. Yeah, the GP, I wouldn't agree with that at all. Not at
I
all.
say no to that. No.
Yeah, no, no.
No, okay, all right.
No. But I think to GP and Mika's point. So whenever I got to understand this way later. I wish I'd known that way before. It's before you write a letter of recommendation, no matter how close you are to a person, there's a story, there's a narrative you want to give, right? And it's about highlighting what the narrative you want to give to whoever is going to write it. So even if it's not you writing it yourself, but letting them understand, for example, let's say you have a particular GPA. What GPA did you have? What extracurriculars have you had so far that they can highlight in whatever they are writing for you? Because no matter how much they know you, they're not going to know every single detail about you. So it's about you highlighting what those specific details are that you want them to mention in their letter of recommendation. And to the point they made earlier as well, I've come to believe that you have to make life as easier for them as much as possible. So they don't have to be looking for information all around, like, okay, they need to call you to find it. It's like, try to highlight that as much as possible and just make it easier for them to be able to go through that process. And for those of us from Nigeria, and I would say from a lot of developing countries, when you have people write a letter of recommendation, they just write, he's hardworking, he's a hardworking student, he's intelligent, and please, to Mika's point earlier, please pick him. It's not that you're not hardworking. And I think to the extent that they know, that's how they know how to present the information. But for someone that will be evaluating your application for KGSP, they want more details. How did you exhibit intelligence? How did you exhibit hard work? And that's what they want to see more. So if you have someone writing it for you that way, it's okay. That's how much they know. But try to give them more information that they could actually show when you've demonstrated those attributes that they say about you. So if anybody else wants to add to that, please go ahead.
All right. So I will just quickly go with mine. For me, I think I also choose, also in Ghana, it's same. When you get a recommendation from, the headmistress, we had headmistress, or an assistant, it's they see it as more formal than getting it from just any teacher, because they actually have stamps those days. And the normal maths teacher didn't have a stamp. So you having everything done with a stamp on it is more authentic than any other one. So I got one from the assistant headmistress. administrative, and then the other one I actually got it from outside of school, like someone who knows me for who I am, not in the classroom, but what I do in the community, and also what other impact I give to people. So I actually chose an administrator also in the community I am in, and very funny enough, I got to teach his daughter. So in a way, I got to interact with him for the when it has to do with the daughter. So he knew how I took these people and what future I had. So with those interactions, although we didn't know those times how to, write a draft and then send it to them, he already have an idea of the fact that, this lady is not just going in to Korea for herself. She's really have a dream of helping her people. And so that was what he portrayed in his letter of recommendation, which also helped. So it shouldn't be just school. Someone who knows you and what you are doing should be able to write more about you also. And someone who is high in the community you are in, I think will also do.
Thank you for that. I'm just going to go to the question that Litima asked. What will be the content of the recommendation letter and whom are we addressing it to? Does anybody want to answer this? I think we've already covered a major part of it, but who do you address the recommendation letter to?
I think the recommendation letter is usually addressed to the panel of people that are reviewing you for the scholarship. So the person who is writing your recommendation letter will refer to, like, let's say, what do you call it? Maybe refer to those who are selecting people for this scholarship, or I've forgotten the title, but those are the people that are usually addressed. Those that are going through. It could be the embassy, like the Korean embassy staff, because usually it's from there that they go through it, or JKS organizers and coordinators. So depending on your country and which people are the ones handling the JKS scholarship, those are the people your recommendation letter can be referred to. So the person writing it, you can inform them in advance that these are who you should refer it to, and yeah.
And again, thank you for that. Again, it goes back to the idea of being, helping whoever is going to write it for you, making life easier for them, so they don't have to stress about who do I address. Like, try to highlight what those things should be that they should put in there. Then Tito also asked the question about having a recommendation letter from his English teacher, his chemistry teacher, as well as from the director of training courses. Then who should you pick? If you have to pick two. I think that the panelists have already answered this question. Now, in the case of applying for master's degree, I would say that pick someone that knows you best. I think it's different, but for undergrad, I would say pick someone that knows you, but also has some level of authority. But if it's master's degree, I think the emphasis should be someone that knows you very well. But yeah, I guess that's the answer that I could give to that. Or does anybody else want to add to that question, to the answer? Okay. Then let me see if there's any other question here. Letters of recommendation. Pratiksha asks, I've graduated 12th and I'm not understanding how to put grades. In navigation, they're asking for 4 years grades, so I do not have to put grades for it or just talk. I think I'm not familiar with this educational system, but what I would say is if you're applying through the embassy track, try to get in contact with the embassy to ask for more information about how you can present the information. And if you're applying through the university track, try to get in contact with the university staff. Most of them, it's called the international office or international affairs. Try to get in contact with them on how best to present the information, because the point you're making is very true. Depending on the country, the number of years or how you present it can be very, very different. And I don't think any of us are in the best place to answer that, but I think it's best to reach out to that school or the embassy that will be reviewing your application to ask how you can best present the information in a way that you need to. That's more of the answer that I would give to that. But if anybody has anything to add, please go ahead.
Yeah, so in studying Korea website, amongst or in the rules and regulation or the guidelines of applying, they mention that when you're filling in your records, you should try to, what do you call it? They use the CGPA format for imputing results and record. That's the question, right? It has to do with like the grading system. So they suggested that you change your grading system to match that. So I think when you go on Google or online, depending on the country or the grading system, there's usually an equivalent of what this means to that. So you can do some research and also ask your school or the Korean government's organization in your country to reconfirm and make sure you have the right information and the equivalence of it.
Mhm. No, thank you for that. And I think there's also another question about if I put only my 12th class, then will it be okay? Again, Usena has answered that. I will also say try to reach out to the embassy and the university to get a more specific answer for that. Pratiksha, who conducts interview for embassy track? So in the case of, I'm from Nigeria, I think for each country it's going to be different. Now, in the case of Nigeria, we have this organization called Korean Cultural Center. So for some countries, it's not even the embassy doing it at all. It's the Korean Cultural Center. So I think you have to look at your country to see, to find out how it's done in your countries. If anybody wants to add to that, please go ahead.
Yeah, so actually, the Korean Cultural Center is directly linked to the Korean Embassy. So usually, those people who are interviewing from the Cultural Center are also from the embassy. They just have like dual roles. Yes. So basically, that's that.
Then Litima is asking which of the process of application is more preferable, embassy track or university track. So I made a video on this, and I think it's already on the channel. Start here for 202 KGSP JKS. What I would say is, well, let me allow the panel to answer first because I've already said what I need to say on that, in that video. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, so this question came up in a group chat of Nigerian students who are currently living in Korea. Someone asked which of is the embassy track or university track? And for my case, in 2015, there was no university track, so embassy track was the only thing that I was familiar with. So I I was just like, oh, embassy track because you can choose multiple universities and you can choose schools that are in Seoul, so that has more leverages. But most of the other students, they said that university track was better because they felt that since you're going directly to one university, once you get admitted to that university, then JKS would easily just attach the scholarship with you. So those were the two different opinions that came out. So they both have pros and cons depending on how you want to go into Korea. So for since university track, it's university has to be outside of Seoul, so that's where your choices are. So if you don't mind studying outside Seoul and going to a school specifically, then you might have better choices, especially a school that is not well known. Once you go in, the JKS would even more likely want to grant you that scholarship because they need to distribute the students in certain schools that are not getting that much international students. And for embassy track, since you have that flexibility, you could choose 3 universities all in Seoul. And yeah, so there's those the pros and cons, and how where you want to study matters a lot. So if you want to study in a university that is in Seoul, then embassy track is for you. But if you want to maybe increase the chances of getting the scholarship, then finding a university that is not that popular or just outside of Seoul in general, then a university track could work for you.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Husseina. Again, what I would say, the conclusion that I always recommend is do your research and from there be able to decide in terms of being strategic and in terms of, what you want to study for you to decide eventually the track. But there is no, like, this is the track you have to follow. You have to be the one to eventually make that decision for yourself.
Yeah, and I also, oh,
Sorry.
sorry for cutting you off. I also heard that the, what do you call it, application period for embassy and university track are quite different. So for one of it, it's quite longer. So what some people did is that after applying for university track and the first announcement came out and their name was not on the list, they immediately went in to apply for embassy track as well. So you could actually take advantage of the both if you see that the timeline there's a gap between the timeline, so you can increase your chances one way or the other.
That's good. Thank you. Someone is asking a question here, Dorothy. She's from Ghana, and it's very specific to Letitia. So, I don't know. Did you see the question?
No, please.
Oh, it says, I'm from Ghana, and I would like Miss Letitia to explain how she calculated her GPA and what increased her chances to win the scholarship.
Oh, wow. All right, thank you for that. So before I actually go with that one, I want to chip in with what Husseina said earlier about, the embassy track and then though she made mention of the fact that you should look at the gap between those two applications before you do that. What I'm saying that is, if you dare apply for the two of them at the same time, you are going to be disqualified in the final. So you should be sure that maybe you failed the other one and it was clear and you had the chance to apply to somewhere else before you do that. But if there is a chance for you and then you are not patient, you just go ahead applying for both university and distance track, you should know that you are out. So that is what I wanted to chip in, just so they don't become desperate and do that. All right. So how did I calculate my GPA? As of 2013, I didn't even know how to apply use that to calculate my GPA. Husseina said, you go to the Google and then put in based on Ghana this thing results, then it will give it to you. But if I remember, SHS, what we did was they gave you report card per semester, which wasn't even summed up. So I don't know how you're going to chip it in directly over there. So what we did was, I went to the administration and then they were like, okay, so with this, I think you fall in. They said, I think you fall in, the 80% and above. So they wrote, oh, she's above the average, what they are looking for. And then I submitted like that with the sense that I didn't calculate that. So I left that place blank and then went on. So I wouldn't be able to give you the exact. But for me, I went in without that one. And how did I get in? My chances, like I said, you should put in your best forward, like put in your best. And I would love to get to interact with you if you really want to apply for this scholarship and move on. Give it your best. Look at your life. What will you want to put in your front? Let's say if they say Letitia, what should you be known for? And why should Korea pick you? So that is what I actually put. I just said, I am the girl for the job. Bring me to Korea. Give me all the engineering. I'll take it in my head and I'm taking it to my country to build Ghana to the standard that you are in. And then they were like, oh, I think we need this girl. For me, that was, I told them I am the lady for the job. So I showed them how confident I was. And that brought me this far.
Just a quick question. Are you going to go to Ghana? What are you
Sure.
doing here, my sister?
I'm already liaising with my company to have something going on in Ghana since we are working on renewables. So.
Truth is very important, guys. You see? Yeah, don't put lies there. No, GP, no.
No, thank you for that. I'm gonna go real quick to the next questions from Vasco. I did my diploma and we're using two different GPA scale in first and second year we use 4.0 and third year 5.0. How should I fill it on my application to get CGPA? That's a tough one. Vasco, I think I'm from Nigeria, so I'm from Nigeria and we have a different system. I think maybe what you want to do is to reach out to someone from your country that has done something similar to this, and ask how they went about it. And one thing, a way that you can actually find that out is if you go to study in Korea .go.kr, and I made a video on also how to navigate that website. Every single year when they release the application, information, they also release the final result, the successful applicant. So you can go to the previous years to see if the people that were selected from your country, and you can reach out to them to get an understanding of how they did it in the previous years and how they presented their CGPA. Maybe that you might find that helpful. Then Litima, I'm currently an undergraduate in the Nigerian university. Which of my result is more preferably to upload? Is it my CGPA or 12th grade result, SS3? Well, I would say you can, if you're applying for a university in Korea, you cannot include your undergraduate results from Nigeria. You only the maximum you are allowed to include is your SS3, so you cannot include your undergraduate as part of the assessment. I think that's pretty. I'm not sure if that answers that. Do you guys think that answers the question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna turn to the panel. We've got like just about 11 more minutes to go. Glory is asking, what are the best tips you can give for the interview? And did any of you apply twice?
No. I think all of us here, we apply once because it's a big mistake to call me for the interview. I have this, this say all the time, just to give myself confidence that you will make a big mistake if you call me for the interview because you will choose me. Like if you don't want to choose me, don't call me to the interview. That's kind of like my philosophy I live with. And I think the best thing you can prepare, you first of all, you have to be confident that you are right for that place. I remember first time when I went there, there was a lot of guys came there and I was not confident. So it's okay if you're not confident too. Because when I went there, I saw myself as the least in that group. A lot of guys there, though, just because we had that interview in English, man. And my English was pretty broken back then. These guys, they were talking about how many interviews they had in the past. You see there, we had like TO. TO is like Tanzanian one. People who they got like the first place in the whole country. They were right there. But the best thing you can do is knowing that, hey, as long as you're being called to the interview, that means they have seen something in you. And so the best thing you can do is to know exactly if you because in that application you know the school you want to go, so you have to do some research about that school to give them the reason why you are choosing that particular school and why you're going there. One of the questions that I was asked, they asked me why going to Korea to study economics and not going to the US or UK because they also have pretty good economy. Why not going there and why Korea? So you have to know all this reason, like why I'm going to Korea, why I'm going to that university, why I'm studying, why I want to study this. And also another thing, you gotta learn a little bit of Korean, just a little bit, just a few things, like how to say 안녕하세요, like hi, and 감사합니다 at the end, and something like that, because I think that is gonna give you some extra point. I had to learn kamsamida and everything after everything. I actually missed two questions. Like they asked two questions and I couldn't say anything. I couldn't answer. So for me, I was living in the interview and I was like, man, I messed this up. Two questions I didn't answer. Even the ambassador told me that, Mika, just calm down. Can you calm down and then answer? But I couldn't answer. I already panicked. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to get this. But at the end of the day, man, at the end of the day, I got picked. So it was not because I answer all the question like right. No, you might be nervous and you might get it wrong. But the if you have one question that you're really going to answer, then you have to give your best for that question. And if there's a question that you prepare yourself as much as you can, and if you're nervous, that's okay. It's understandable. But also learn a little bit of Korean. A few words that you give, out there, and also go there with confidence. Even if you make mistake, but you gotta be confident. I think that will give you some extra points.
Thank you for that. And Gloria, I just want to bring in real quick. Even if I think it's okay to apply twice or even three times. I don't think it's for all of us here we applied once and we got it, and that doesn't mean that if you apply twice, it's going to be negative in any way. I think what I would just say is if you're applying to the second time or the third time, make sure your application is better than it was, previously. That's all I would say. Does anybody want to add to Mika's point about tips for interview?
Yeah. I want to say you can never know what they want you to say. So just, answer the question to the best of your knowledge or the best of your ability. If let's say you receive a question you didn't study for, if you can try to answer that, but at the same time, if you know that you don't know anything about it, you can sincerely, be sincere. Sincerity also, helps a lot. You can be sincere. Oh, I have no information about this, but if given the opportunity, I will get to know more about this. I would like to know more about this. So it's like sincerity also helps, and also giving your best.
That's good. That's good. And let me just throw this. I think it's fair to say that all the people on this panel would be okay with you reaching out to them if you want to. They're all on Facebook. They're all on, Twitter is banned in Nigeria, but for other countries, they're all on Twitter. Then they're also on Instagram, if I remember correctly. So please feel free to reach out to them for further information if you want to ask any specific question moving forward. I guess the last question I want to ask us before we end this for today is, which document do you think takes the most time to gather, and how would you recommend for people to go about getting that document?
In Nigeria?
Well, given your in the case of Nigeria, in the case of Ghana, in the case
Everything,
of
everything.
In my case, it was the transcript. Yeah.
how long did it take you to get it?
So it took a few weeks, but I don't remember exactly what it was. Something that took a while to get it because the school did not have a transcript already made in advance. So the exam office had to be contacted and they had to make it out of the records of my result they had from senior secondary school 1 to 3. So they're really taking their time. And maybe today the exam officer is not in office, the office is closed. So all those kind of things they come in the way. So that was the most one. And because it depended a lot more on the school and it wasn't something that you could come that comes from you. So yeah, that took a while.
And the application is going to open, I think last year the application opened on September 8th. So there's a high chance that it's going to open around that time too this year. What I would say is try to give yourself a buffer of at least 2 to 3 weeks to gather all the documents. And if you're planning to apply next year, try to start working on those documents as soon as you can, especially the transcript and and the certificate. Funny story in Korea, for you to get your transcript, they have a machine. You just walk there, type in your student ID number, fill out your transcript. Like literally. So, but in our countries, for some reason it takes a longer time for you to get all those documents. And just let's answer this real quick. Which documents do I have to notarize, like just results or even certificates too? What do you guys think from your experience? This person asking a document you have to notarize.
I didn't notarize anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, we did it.
I only did that for Spain visa, but I never did that in my life. It was the first time, I didn't even know what's the meaning of notarize.
Letitia, you want to say something?
Okay, it's in a line. I also didn't notarize, but they wanted to prove because we didn't have the original, or we had just an original. Like Ghana, we just have one original. Like your completion certificate, you can't go print it out again when they give you that. So because you only have one birth certificate one and all those things one, you actually make photocopies of it. So for the birth set, you have to go back to the death and birth registrar. They have a stamp to certify that this is the copy you just made is same as the original. So with that and signed across it, you have it as certified, like just like you call it notarized in other countries. So in Ghana, that is what you have to do. If it's birth set, you go back to where you got it from with the photocopies and they stamp it to show that it is certified, just like the original. And then for the certificates of completion and everything, print copies, like I did 4 of all of them. And then I sent it back to them. So they just certified all of them. Because I can't give the original out. And if I leave that place, let's say if you want to apply somewhere else, you still need certified documents. So I just had extras so that when I need to use them somewhere, I use them. So this will be maybe for Ghanaians and those that will be also in that line.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
To add to what Letitia said, that is called actually authentication. You make it authentic, and that is actually what you're supposed to do. I mean, when I was applying for mine, I made the mistake of actually submitting my original birth certificate because everything you should know about Korea is whatever you're applying for, they always ask for original. So I was intimidated by that, and I actually submitted my original. But right now, I don't have a birth certificate because I didn't get it back.
This guy said he was not born. Are you an alien?
So they'll always ask you for original, and sometimes you have to realize something, you have to apostle. But just like we discussed about apostle like earlier, Nigeria does not belong to the Hague Convention, so we just take it for legalization. They just that stamp. The moment they stamp it, you can use it anywhere as original.
Yeah. And what I just to add to that point as well is the whole idea of apostilling. I think it came about maybe very recently. Like when I was applying in 2011 as well, I did not have to do any apostilling or what have you. So I think to God's power's point, there are some countries that you only authenticate, you cannot apostille. but for some countries, you have to like, you can apostyle. And you have to go to the Korean, I think it's mofat.go.kr, where you can learn, whether your country needs to apostyle or authenticate, and how do you go about that? For every country, it's different. And to the question of which one do you have to, notarize? My understanding is it's your transcript and your certificate, both. But again, I would say that go through the application information for you to get an idea specifically of what you need to notarize. I'm going to ask, we're going to have the last question and finish it for today. Do you guys think there's an award section in the application? Do you think it's going to give you any advantage in the application?
Of course. Always, it's, of course, it's your achievement. Actually, that's what we talked about. It's those, like, your awards will always be your achievements. So talk about them. Everybody wants to listen to people with awards.
You can put anything you have, man, like all the certificates you have received. For me, when I was in elementary school, I got the certificate of the cleanless man because I used to be very clean all the time. Yeah, like elementary, high school, and middle school, I put all of them there. We had different clubs of environment club, HIV club, corruption clubs. Oh, why are you laughing? It's true. Like, we have all this club in university, and I was a leader. I put everything. So you gotta put everything you can, even if maybe you did volunteer somewhere. You gotta put that, and then tell them, even a personal statement, like, you know what, I volunteer a lot. I'll go there and I'll do also volunteer. All those things, just put it there, because it's you gotta take your chance, and you don't know, like, who is gonna be checking maybe you'll be somebody who is always volunteering here in Korea, and it'll be like, wow, this person right here. So put everything you have, everything.
Yeah.
You can
And
put
I would
even a
like
letter
to
from
add,
your pastor or your, sheikh, whoever it is. You can just put it there.
yeah, I would also like to add, like, for those people that during their school years they didn't have that much achievement or things to boast about, you can also add like projects or things you did, class project that you did with other teammates in the course of your school. And if you have a blog or writing just content anywhere, you can also repackage that as your personal stuff, so they'll see you as someone that has initiative, that takes step on their own. So also looking for things that would come out from you would be a booster, because you cannot control the kind of achievement and things that you will receive. So also looking for things you could learn and create content about or write about would be a good way to buffer up your personal statement.
Yeah, sorry. One more. Like she said about, for those people that they were not like involved in a lot of activities in school. Like, actually, it doesn't matter what kind of activity. I remember when I was writing mine, like, I wanted to put in my work experience, but the only place I actually worked was in my father's shop. So I made it sound nice that,
This guy,
I was the same.
you lied.
My dad was selling bags, so I was the salesperson for my dad's business. It was like, you make it sound nice. So,
You were though. You were.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
you did.
in Nigeria how we see it, it's like going to a shop to buy something. It's like those, like, we call it like, I don't know, in Nigeria, like you go to a kiosk. Is it kiosk? I forgot, to buy something.
Kiosk.
Like,
You're losing your
kiosk.
Nigerian touch, but anyways.
Stop
So it's like,
attacking Nigeria, brother.
it doesn't matter your experience. Like, no matter what you are doing, even though you've been like a house, like a house girl or house boy, you can just try to explain that in a nice way, because
In a
those
professional
experiences,
way.
they matter. In a professional way. Thank you. They matter.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's already 5 feet. Sorry, we can't take more questions, but I just want to ask the panel something real quick. Even though we can't take questions, you can reach out to everybody on this panel, individually later to get answers to this. I know this, KGSP, it's become very, very competitive. Like, even though it's why would you still recommend for people to apply? What would you say as the encouragement? Like, regardless, please still go ahead and apply.
I think the exposure that you get from KGSP, it's unique. Meeting people from all over the world. I remember the best moment of my life, it was in 2013 when I came to Korea, just like a freshman, didn't know anything, never tasted kimchi before, never met anybody from Nigeria, and the first guy was GP to see, what a bad luck. but the exposure you get from KGSP,
Change your life,
it's very
man. Get out
important
of here.
because because you meet elites, like people from different countries, like smart people, people who have vision, people who, all of you guys are new. So you're coming to build a new family here because you're not just here to learn about Korea, but you're going to learn about pretty much the whole world because they're bringing those smart people right here from all over the world. That's very important. Second, man, I think is one of the safest, scholarship you can ever have in this world. For me, I was even having good time when I was going to the immigration. That's not the same thing with GP. I don't know why, but maybe just because of how you look like. But when I went there, I just had to give my certificate that, what, I'm KGSP, and they know, like, we have this certain way of respect. Like they respect because you are KGSP, and KGSP is like Korean government scholarship program. So I even forgot the question, and I forgot what I wanted to say.
You see, you are
I
lost, bro.
wanna come back. What was the question again? I wanna be able to wrap this up
No, no. The
professionally.
question was, why would, even though it's very competitive, why would you still recommend for people to go ahead and apply?
Okay, because this at the end of the day, this, if you get this, it'll be one of the best achievement of your life, man. It'll be the best achievement of your life because being picked from your country, only two people, only one person, and then you get that a chance. Even if you don't get that a chance, you still, did your best. But choose that and try your best. I think it's you saying, it's just the way you see yourself, that, what, I think I can compete. I think, I deserve this. I think I can get this, and just put yourself out there for opportunity. We have this one saying in Korea, we say, this is kind of like when you have this opportunity and already the Korean government is giving us opportunity, then you gotta take it, you gotta grab it, and you gotta try your best. And at the end of the day, if they're gonna choose you, it doesn't matter. If they don't choose you, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I think that's what I can say.
Oh, you're mute.
I'm
Anu.
mute.
Anu is
Sorry.
mute.
Thank you very much, Mika. Say now.
Yeah. So I should go. So for me, I think what I would recommend anyone or everyone to apply for KGSP is it's to give yourself more options. Because currently, I'm not sure where you are, but I'm sure you're looking for a way to widen your horizon and see what other options are there for you. Because I agree with everything that Mika said, because that's what I would have said as well. Great experience, great people, new opportunity. So getting to know what other options or exposing yourself to more options that are not currently in your view. I think that's why I would recommend this because when you're in a certain location or geography and the things that are open to you there, you could count them. But once you go to a international a place where there's a more mix of that, like Korea, the options just double and multiply. So things or positions you might not have vision or seen yourself before, they begin to seem more reachable and accessible to you. So being able to give yourself more options is one of the big reasons I would recommend KHSP for anyone and everyone.
Thank you
Let,
very much. Does anybody else want to say anything?
yeah, let me talk about what they're not talking about. I mean, money is good always. So, I mean, let's say Korea will pick you out, and they'll pick you amongst a lot of students from your country, bring you to Korea. First, they don't only, let's say, offer you an opportunity to study. They offer you opportunity to become bilingual. For, let's say, for 10 months, like, let's say, you will be actually, it's actually compulsory. You'll be, not, I don't want to say first, but you'll be, let's say, taken through an 11-month system of learning Korean language, which at the end of that 10 months, you actually become really good at Korean, which is really good. It's gonna be a huge plus later in applying for jobs and becoming better. Like, so they give you that, and at the same time they give you opportunity to study, and it feels like they're paying you for studying. They literally, I mean, they pay well every month. You get money, and then it's like, with that money you can also, pay for your dream or take care of your family and everything. So it's actually really good. Other countries, I don't know if they do that. I know there are some that do that, but I feel, I mean, Korea, they are trying in that area.
Thank you very much. I just want to end with this that the application should be out, I think, first or second, I think second week next week, most likely, or if not the week afterwards. We wish you all the very best in the application. Hope you get it. And again, if you get Korean government scholarship, it's life changing. And we wish you all the very best. And if you have any question further, please feel free to reach out to all of us individually, or and I think over the coming weeks as well, we're gonna post more videos on this channel for you guys to to be able to learn from. So all the best, and thank you so much for to the panelists. So all of them, they're in Korea right now. It's actually 12. It's I think 1:30 a.m.
1 a.m. Yes.
Yeah, thanks for for creating the time to really do this. I'm right now in Nigeria, so it's just 5:25 here. But thank you so much for the really appreciate it, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, sure thing.
I
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the
Yes.
opportunity.
Bye,
Bye
everyone.
bye. See you guys next time. See you in Korea.
Yeah.